YouTube, what's going on? In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best way to go about getting a double shot ancient way and some of the tricks you can do to maximize your rolls on getting one. First off, let's go through what makes the best in slot ancient way in the current meta. You want to have a grade 5 heavy caliber mod on it, a grade 5 explosive payload mod attached to it, and finally, the coveted roll, we're trying to get a 50% rolled grade 5 capacity expander. Getting this capacity expander as a 50% is extremely difficult for some, but we have a few ways we can expedite getting this accomplished. All of the overland testing stations have a 9% drop rate for the capacity expander. Currently, according to data we have publicly available, but only the old quarry also has a high chance of dropping the ancient way, sitting at 14% according to data we have available. The heavy payload augment drops equally at 2% from every lab. Depending on your playstyle, and if you already have a grade 5 ancient way, you can skip the old quarry and go for one of the other testing stations that you can clear efficiently. This is going to depend on what your current playstyle is, your gear setup, and your group size, but I found that the Lightning Lab testing station 152 is one of the labs you can clear the fastest solo or duo for the most capacity expanders per hour. If you're not sure on how to complete any of these labs, on how to speedrun it, check out my guides below in the description for some tips and tricks as far as how to clear these efficiently. Next up, let's talk about what you can do to spend less resources and maximize your probability of getting a 50% capacity expander. If you haven't started leveling your crafting specialization or have a friend that has it maxed out, this is where it's going to come in handy to start doing that. There's 5 instances of the trait Augmentation, Fabrication Mastery we want to hit. They increase our odds of getting a jackpot augment to 20% at level 96. We can get the other ones, respectively, at 20, 33, 55, and 78. The other trait we want to get from the crafting spec is Waste Not, Want Not. We get this at level 61 crafting, where it has a 15% chance of giving us a plan back after recycling an item. So in this case, if we recycle an augment, like the capacity expander, we have a 15% chance to get that back as resources and also as a plan that we can use again. The last crafting perk that we want to have to save us resources is going to be the level 100 trait, Ghost Data. This also gives us a 15% chance of having a plan double. With all these traits combined, we're going to have a much higher chance of getting the 50% roll without burning through a ton of plans and resources. For the last part of this, I want to talk about the math a little bit of trying to get the capacity expander itself. Now, we've gone over some of the traits and how they can help us save resources and increase our odds of actually getting a jackpot roll, but something that it's not really explicitly noted about this roll is that the jackpot roll isn't necessarily going to be a 50%. It's going to be a higher tier stat of a god roll, basically. So we have, let's say, for example, a spread of 49% to 50% as far as the roll goes. So every time that you get that jackpot, it's not going to be guaranteed to be a 50%, but if you're lucky, you can get that. I've had so many instances where it's actually a 49.9%, not the 50. So, and keep in mind, we have 2 independent rolls on the capacity expander. We have the actual capacity itself that can roll a 50%, but we also have the power consumption roll that can also be rolled at 25%. So if we get a god roll on one of those, the other one's a very unlikely, odd of actually rolling a god roll as well. So it's going to really expand our horizons of how many plans we actually have to acquire to get these god rolls. So if you're lucky, guys, it could be 1 in 9, 1 in 8 to actually get one. But in some cases, it could take up to 20, 30, 40 rolls to actually get the capacity expander. So may I wish all of you favorable odds, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear how many rolls it took you guys to get your first god roll capacity expander at 50% in the comments below. And don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. It goes a long way. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.